Okay, this is the first in a set of videos to show you about queries. Now, queries are things in databases that allow you to either create a virtual table with a subset of fields from all of the tables that you have, or any of the tables that you have in the database, or it can be used to search. Now, what I'm going to do first of all is to show you, if we take a very simple database here that only has one table in it, that's called books. We can see first of all by opening up books that it has a number of fields here: book ID, title, surname and full name of the author, the ISBN and the subject. And what I'll do first of all is to show you how to narrow down the number of fields that you see in that table fairly easily by creating a query using the wizard. And what we can now do is choose the fields that we want to appear here. Let's just say that we want it to be subject and title, so those are the two fields that we've chosen. Go to next. We can then call it whatever we want to call it. So if I just call it, I don't know, subject and title, like that, and then go finish. What we can see now, the query has been run and it's only selected the subject and the title there, and that's quite useful later on if you want to create a form from this subset, or if you want to create a printout report. Okay, well let's close that down, because useful as it is, it doesn't really allow us to do a great deal with the data that we have. One of the things that we can do with this now, if we go into design view of that query, what you can see is that the query itself starts to look like a bit of a table down here, and we have a line in criteria. And what this allows us to do then is to search that table. So for example, I happen to know that one of the subjects that's in our table here is called econ, and that's short for economics. So if I type that in there into that criteria table like that, and then I run the query by clicking on the little exclamation mark there, what we see is only the economics books, and the titles obviously, because that's what our query has, come up on the screen. And that will work for anything that we type in. Let's close that down and not save the query. Go back into design. If I now change that criteria there to another subject that I happen to know exists, biology, and then run the query, we can see we just get biology books. So it's a very simple way of searching and narrowing down the data that we have. And of course, again, we can create a printed out report or base a form on this particular subset of the data. So let's go back there and let's say no, I don't want to save that. Going back into design, here comes another very clever thing. I'm just going to close this properties down. Another clever thing that we can do, rather than having to type in the value here, it'd be nice to be prompted for what we wanted, and you can do that very simply by putting in some square brackets and then some form of message. So it might be which subject. So again, anything you type in here would actually work. I'll put a question mark after the end there. And what happens now when we run this query is the little box pops up here and asks us for a parameter. Now this is known as a parameter query because you have to type a value in, and the parameter is the value. And what I'll do again, just like we did before, I'll choose chem this time for chemistry, and we click on OK, and the query then runs and it gives us all the chemistry books. What we can then do is, if we run the query again, it pops up for which subject, and again I'm running out of things that I can remember that are actually in there now, so I'm going back onto one of the ones we've tried before, which is econ for economics, and then we can get all of that information in there. And that's just a very simple parameter query.